thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to talk about how you can use diminished triads over a 1-4-5 dominant 7th chord progression. So with dominant 7th chords, any dominant 7th chord will have a 1, 3, 5 and flat 7. In the case of G7 we have G, B, D and F. C7, C, E, G, B flat, D7, D, F sharp, A and C. Within those 7th chords there are in fact two triads. The first, in the case of G7, would be a G triad, G, B and D, the 1, 3 and 5. That's just a major triad. And the 3, 5 and flat 7 of the chord in fact make up a diminished triad. So if we remove the root note of each of these 7th chords, what we're left with are diminished triads. So in the case of G7 we've got B diminished, which is written like that, E diminished in the case of C7, and with D7 we have F sharp diminished. So the useful thing about knowing that is if we're playing in a band situation, the bass player is going to be covering in the bass lines a lot of the root note information, and all we really need to do is play a diminished triad, and in that situation we've created that dominant 7th sound. So that's not to say that you can't have or shouldn't have, a G note in your dominant 7th chord. It's just to say that you don't actually need to have that there because the bass is really covering that. So if you're playing in an R&B situation or some funk or blues or something like that, it's going to be beneficial to you to know diminished triads up and down your neck. So for those who don't know about diminished triads or how to understand them from a theory point of view, I'll show you one way you could look at it. If we were to take a B diminished triad, for example, we'll compare it to the B major scale. So within the B major scale we have B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, and back to the root note again. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all 1. Now the formula for a diminished triad is 1, flat 3 and flat 5. So if we remove the other chord degrees, or scale degrees I should say, we'll get rid of these. And we flatten the 3rd from D sharp to D, flatten the 5th from F sharp to F. That's how one way you can think of achieving a diminished triad. So now I'm going to play you an example of how you could use these triads over a progression, a dominant 1-4-5 progression.